Stephen Carroll is here with me in the studio. Hello, Stephen. François Hollande will be meeting some French entrepreneurs in Silicon Valley later today, but there are some business people who've made it big here in France.
Yeah, they haven't all left. Many of those who've gone to work in Silicon Valley have complained of the French system being too difficult to make it possible for them to succeed, and that's why they've gone to places like the United States. They complain of high taxes and too much red tape for businesses here. But there are still many who have made it big. Among them, the billionaire Xavier Niel, who founded the telecoms firm Free. He says companies can grow in France, but the government could do more to help them. Delano de Souza has the story.
Free, a name that's shaken up the French telecoms market, a company that provides at-home internet services. In 2012, they launched mobile phone operations and have since attracted 10% of French customers. Xavier Niel, the company's founder, has become a billionaire in the French digital industry. He believes entrepreneurial success in France is possible.
Silicon Valley is lucky because it attracts talented people, so it is successful. For companies to set up in France, we need to have pro-competitive and pro-innovation policies. But if we have a state that is pro-competition and doesn't limit people, we will have success.
Free signature innovation, the Freebox, a single unit that integrates television, telephone and broadband services. It's helped the company to attract graduates from France's top engineering schools.
The flat hierarchy allows my ideas to get across quicker.
Despite criticism of high taxes in France, Niel says French entrepreneurs have certain advantages over their US counterparts.
In Silicon Valley, if you created a company 10 years ago, you pay 28% in taxes. In France, we pay less than 25%.
Xavier Niel is also known as an angel investor. So far, he's helped provide initial funding to over 800 tech startups globally.
To the United States next, and another standoff over the debt ceiling that looks set to be avoided.
Yeah, good news for a change on US budget deals. This is the House of Representatives that have passed a bill to raise the debt ceiling in the United States. The measure passed by 221 votes to 201. It'll allow the government to continue borrowing until March of next year. In a particularly unusual move, though, the deal was done without any strings attached. This issue has become a political football in recent years of how much America is allowed to borrow. The spectre of the debt ceiling had risen again when Jack Lew, the Treasury Secretary, warned that America risked running out of cash if they didn't sort it out by the end of this month.
All right, Stephen, let's take a look at how the markets are doing today.
Well, here in Europe, it's been a broadly positive start to the day. All of the main indices opening in the green. Societe Generale, the French bank, their shares are up over 2% here in Paris after reporting they'd returned to profit in the last 3 months of 2012. Overall, last year, the company reported a net profit of more than 2.1 billion euros. It's the first of the major French banks to report. We're expecting BNP Paribas, the country's biggest lenders, results tomorrow. So something we'll be watching very closely for you. Now, over in Asia, markets particularly pleased with the news from Janet Yellen, the new chair of the Federal Reserve, that she'll continue with the Fed's policies. That means more monetary stimulus for the moment until things pick up. You can see all of the Asian markets in the green there. Over in China, news that imports and exports both rose in January by more than had been expected, has helped Chinese shares into the green. That news, though, slight doubts over those figures coming from some economists, but not enough to dampen things on the markets.
Stephen, take us through some of the day's company stories.
We're going to start next with the French oil company Total, where net profits have fallen by 20% to 8.4 billion euros last year. The company, the third most valuable in the oil sector globally, says the fall is down to reduced production and falling price of oil. In the last 3 months of 2012, Total's sales fell by 4% to just under 48 billion euros. Sales of Heineken fell by almost 2% worldwide last year, driven down by reduced consumption in Europe. Profits of the world's third largest brewer took a dip too, with like-for-like figures down 2% as well. The company says it expects sales to pick up in 2014, driven by growth in Africa, Asia and Latin America. And Airbus has signed a deal to sell 20 of its A380 Super Jumbos worth $8.3 billion. The planes are being bought by the leasing firm Amadeo, formerly known as Doric. It's a boost for Airbus, which has seen sluggish orders for the A380 as airlines shy away from the Super Jumbo model. Also at the Singapore Air Show, Boeing has signed a deal to sell 15 737s to the budget carrier Nok Air. worth $1.5 billion. This, as the aircraft maker says, it hopes to triple its sales in Asia by 2020.
And finally, it's a story that you've talked a lot about yesterday. It's about dumb Starbucks, which has had to close its doors.
Yeah, this was the parody store set up by the comedian Nathan Fielder. Not closing for the reasons you might think, though. It was actually health inspectors in Los Angeles that shut the outlet down. It had opened using Starbucks logo and decor, but with all of the products prefixed by the word dumb. But the LA health authority said they didn't have a permit to trade, and that's why they were being shut down. This after Nathan Fielder had said this was a serious business venture and not just one of his famous television hoaxes. I suppose the health inspectors might have got to him before Starbucks lawyers did, though. They said that it was a protected trademark, and while they appreciated the humour, they didn't have the right to use it in the way that Nathan Fielder had chosen.
All right, Stephen, thank you very much. That was the news roundup with Stephen Carroll. And it's time now to take a look at what's grabbing the headlines around the